Welcome to In the Huddle with John Ritchie. I'm Sam Stafford. We're going to get right into it. John, the Birds were straight up dominant on Monday Night Football as they went against the top contender in the NFC. What if you had to pick it apart? What would you like to see improve as they head to FedEx Field this week?
Yeah, it's hard to pick that performance apart, but I still felt like just pass rush in general could be better. Straight up pass rush without having to blitz. More production from a guy like Brandon Graham getting to the quarterback. A guy like Hassan Reddick just getting to the quarterback without having to draw up stunts and blitzes to help him get there. We're still Josh Sweat had a better game than he did in week one. He had the sack by the face mask and then another sack at the end of the game. So he was a little more productive, had several tackles for loss in this one. So I'd like to see the other defensive ends / edge rushers sort of ramp it up like we saw Josh Sweat do last week.
Does it concern you at all the lack of scoring we saw in the second half? Obviously, it didn't feel like as you were watching it that they weren't
Right.
scoring. It's something you notice afterwards. Is that a concern going into week three?
I was really surprised to look back at the box score and see that there were zeros,
It
and
didn't feel like it.
because we were moving the ball, and the blocked field goal, that is a concern because that's something that'll have to be corrected. That's now on tape, and the wing on the left side needs to do a better job. I think that was Tangiai, but I am. We still move the ball. Our offense still feels like a defense doesn't have any good answers when Jalen Hurts is playing as well as he's playing right now. So I am not concerned. The Vikings looked like a world beater of a team when they played the Packers in week one, and we just handed them their heads. So I'm not going to complain.
I love it. The divisional games are always tough anyway. And then there's a little extra emotion added into this one with the matchup against Carson Wentz. Who do you think that emotion's really going to help out at the end of this game?
I've thought about this a lot. I I think we as fans care about the fact that we're playing Carson Wentz a lot more than the Eagles team itself cares about playing Carson Wentz. And I think Carson Wentz cares a lot more about playing the Eagles than the Eagles care about playing him. There aren't a whole lot of guys left on this roster who even played with Carson when you really go
Good
down.
point. Yeah.
So we as fans feel hurt. We feel betrayed by Carson Wentz because he wanted out of here. I expect we as a team have a psychological advantage because we know Carson and we know that he will try to do too much. And
Yep.
I expect that he wants somewhere deep down inside to prove to the Eagle fan base that, we should miss him. And he's going to try to do the Wency thing and hold on to the ball too long and end up taking some sacks he shouldn't, end up throwing the ball up a few times when he shouldn't. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, definitely a potential stat booster for this D line. Now, I'm stuck between thinking Washington puts points on the board because Carson does play up with that emotion, or that we end up putting points, or they end up putting points on the board when we put our backups in towards the end of the game because we're up so much. But either way, I'm going 33-17 Birds. What's your early score prediction?
It gets mathy doing score predictions, and I'm really bad with math. So this is a stretch for me. I think the way our offense looks, the way Jalen's playing, we look pretty complete and scary for any defense. So I'm going to say we score in the 30s again. I do think that Carson Wentz has major weapons. He's
Yeah.
got Lauren and Dotson and Samuel, who are very exciting players to get the ball in their hands. They can make something happen at any given time. So they might be able to pop a couple in there. I think I'm probably pretty close to what you're saying, Sam. I mean,
Ooh.
30s to teens is the way I think this is going to end up being.
Hopefully we're both right. Okay, before we wrap up, what's your matchup around the league going into week 3?
I am so excited to see Buffalo and Miami face off. You've got,
Ooh.
and that's becoming a rivalry to some degree, and you got two teams that are undefeated. There aren't a whole lot of those left in this league, the Eagles being one of them. But Buffalo, they do look like the front runners to be, Super Bowl. When it's all said and done, they look like the team to beat in this league. But Miami, with this new head coach, young guy, kind of a bookish head coach, he was the offensive run game coordinator in San Francisco, Mike McDaniel. He's got these two guys on the outside for Tua to throw to in Waddle and Tyreek Hill that he's designing the offense perfectly around. And I don't know that it's a walkover type game for a Bills team that looks like they can walk over everybody. So I just can't wait to see how that one unfolds. And I'm not going to say the Bills are a shoe-in to win, because it is in Miami and it is September. And I know as a player, going down there in that humidity and that heat, when you're not really quite in football shape yet, the fourth quarter, you can forget about it. The Miami Dolphins will be the better team. So it's going to be a really interesting game to watch.
It's so fun to not have the Patriots just walk away with that division and see some other teams, you know? But I
Yeah,
think also another interesting matchup is obviously the Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers matchup. It might be one of the last times. I think that's like a 4:30 game. But
sure.
that's all we have for In the Huddle with Jon Ritchie ahead of week 3 of the NFL season. You can listen to Jon Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 on 94.1 WIP. And make sure you go check out the Bet Parks app and all our social media platforms. We'll huddle up again next week.